So as I was charging my phone earlier, like an hour ago, they had this guy, was a white guy, was bending down, recording me. I was under my umbrella. So they're invading my privacy and telling black Americans, white Americans to be acting disrespectful towards me. They were watching me. Yesterday, they had a guy that was in the night, was just staring at me, sitting over there staring at me. And there's this guy here, half naked, half clothed, So this is what they're doing. So this is xenophobia attacks, whereby they deny me access to the bathroom, render me unsanitary, remove the soap from the bathroom, and the black American guy attacked me in the bathroom workers, say, get your stinking buff out of the toilet seat. So they're invoking all kinds of attacks like that could get me angry, so they could beat me to death. So the FBI and the CIA, since me and my mother were trying to hold them, the NYPD accountable, they've joined in to obstruct justice. Even when Eric Garner was helping me with the court papers was killed, even though I had a recording of Eric Garner, I said I was going to help him get justice with my court papers also. And that same 2014, they told me that they choked him to death, and the FBI didn't, even though they were monitoring my phone, because I used to have an immigration court case in which they took my fingerprint, and my case was referred to the FBI. They were doing background check on me, so they've been surveilling me ever since then. They had their Ghana video, they didn't bring their Ghana video out. So they're combining to obstruct justice and aiding and abetting murder and terrorism. And because I know all their I know these secrets, their FBI, CIA, and I believe the local NYPD, they're combining forces. I'm the late Eric Garner's friend, to attack me. So this is international terrorism, and they're using white Americans, black Americans to bother me and to set up a physical confrontation, so they could deal with it as a court case. And I could just make it look like I was just a foreigner fighting everybody, and I got overpowered and I got killed in the process. So they're using the FBI engaging in terrorism. My mother killed also. Our daughters in America were able to get the hospital my mother was in. Even though my mother hid the information of the name of the hospital, she didn't know how our daughters in America were able to find the name of the hospital. Would they know that gave them that secret? And they told the hospital, the suspicion told the hospital to move my mother from the ICU to the psych ward, knowing my mother wouldn't like to be put in the psych ward. And my mother, didn't like being put in the psych ward. And she was angry, and she said she died while they were trying to put her in the psych ward. And I do America when I took her property, in a storage unit. My mother said to keep us on Staten Island, including my property. I know law enforcement will help me. And also, Adults in America had done that to me before in Pennsylvania. They lied that I was mentally ill, I was, dangerous, and the police came and put me in the psych ward. And they said, I had an immigration court case then, and they lied to the Mercy Hospital, I think it's called Mercy Providence Hospital, Pittsburgh, that I didn't have no immigration case. So they were trying to get me to miss my immigration case. It was like a human trafficking, abuse. My mother's daughters in America were suggesting me too. They were trying to get my immigration case denied, so I wouldn't have any papers at all. And the hospital now told me to call my lawyer, and I had to call my lawyer. They gave me a phone, and I called my lawyer in New York, and the lawyer called them and said I did have an immigration case upcoming. And the hospital refused to prosecute my mother's daughters in America after I got out of the psych ward. So they got away with it almost twice now. Killed my mother, put me in the psych ward also. So then the FBI is supporting attacks on transsexual, xenophobia attacks, and this is crazy. And they're getting black Americans to attack me in the toilets. So the FBI is supporting xenophobia attack. Eric Garner was trying to help me with court papers. They choked him to death, and they didn't let me testify in court. My home was taken by the NYPD on Staten Island. So the world needs to please help me in case anything happens to me. The FBI engaging in terrorism against Eric Garner's friend. So the U.S. Congress has to intervene in this matter. If anything should happen to me, people should file abuse corpses to get me released. I think they're trying to make me mentally ill and, psychiatrically deport me or something. And so I'm not mentally valid enough to make a decision for myself, and they just want to take me away to another country. So I believe the FBI is part of this scheme to cover up murder. So if anything should happen to me, please, world, help me file abuse corpses. Your FBI is engaged in crime. They're covering up murder. They had me attack at the Washington Washington Market Park on Chambers and Greenwich Street this afternoon around it was close to between after 12 p.m. to like close to 4 p.m. A black American male worker there in the park. This is an undercover FBI agent, and they have another